amazing how many people are looking for answers. And I'm so glad if you're seeing this, that means you found a home within our little community. And our goal is just to continue to give information, to give you support, to go through, to help educate, to let you know you're not alone. And as weird as this sounds, to find ways to actually enjoy the process, even though we're dealing with some of the most difficult stuff. I'm a huge believer of looking at, some say the silver lining, but of always looking and saying, what's great about this? What can I pull from this that will benefit me, even when it's horrendous? And some of the most successful people that have literally changed the world, that have been through heinous stuff with this mindset, have developed incredibly fulfilling lives, all the way back to getting to learn about Nelson Mandela, of being wrongfully imprisoned, and having this mindset of what's great about this, how can I use this time to study, to prepare. It blows my mind. People like Viktor Frankl in the Holocaust that were in 3 different concentration camps and still continue to say, what can I find that actually is great about this? That blows my mind a human being can actually ask that. And I'm glad he did, because he was the creator of logotherapy, which started to branch off and now is kind of known in this industry, or in this area of positive psychology. And so much growth and studying and evidence-based treatments are happening now because of what is stemmed down from this guy. And so that is why when I say that, I know most people look at me like I'm crazy, but of looking and saying, what can I pull from this that is great? Or how can I actually enjoy part of the process, as weird and crazy as that sounds, to learn and to grow in what that looks like. And what affects us in one area always affects us in all other areas. Even though we tend to try to isolate or fit something in a box, it affects everywhere. And if I'm struggling in here, there's going to be other aspects. So I wanted to say that, even though I know this is really difficult stuff. Also, by reaching out and getting help, by asking questions and getting a fantastic group, we can sit through and grow through this. We become more emotionally stronger, mentally stronger, spiritually stronger, and it's incredible because we're able to take on more and more. Most people in this world that have been through some crazy traumatic areas of life end up actually living with more purpose afterwards. And it's really interesting the way that happens. And so I've met moms of sons whose sons died from addiction, and now their life purpose is going and educating and actually saving thousands, if not tens of thousands of other people's kids by this individual's mission. So that's what I mean by of looking at it when it's so difficult, of saying, wait a minute, there's gonna be some form of good, some way, somehow. I will find something to back this up that I can go ahead and find a purpose in it. So before we jump in, I wanted to at least say that so we can answer these questions from that type of mindset, because I know it can be so difficult and crazy. But remembering life is so short and is way too important to just be heavy all the time, of really looking to grow in different ways that are worth growing and worth living, to be honest. So here is a question jumping in. How do I get over the lies? That's the question. And that is a difficult question. How do I get over the lies? So there's a couple of different ways to look at this. So there's ways to get over it but not forget. And sometimes people throw the two together of, how do I forget the lies? And it's like a scar. Once you have a scar, it's not, hey, it never happened, cover it up, don't deal with it. It's there, and a lot of the times it's there to remind you of, oh, wait a minute, this is something that happened to me in my life, and as I dealt with it and it healed in a healthy way, I'm not talking about where it's festering, but it healed in a healthy way, it's actually stronger now, and it's a reminder, to be honest. And so how do I get over the lies? It's by confronting them, and I don't mean in a confrontational, put your dukes up type of style, but when I say confrontation, I mean by actually addressing them and talking about them and making a decision. And this is the toughest one. I'm actually helping a friend right now who's potentially going through divorce because of some behavior stuff. And it's interesting because that's the question is that I asked him is, well, what do you want? when you're thinking about this, not coming from a place of hurt or anger, frustration, but thinking a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what do you want? And it was interesting because it deals with the same thing of, I don't know, I can't get past the lies. Well, I know right now in the pain it's difficult to, but having that conversation first with self of saying, what do I want? What do I want to work through? Because once I make that decision of either I am deciding to work through this, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about it, and I will come up with my non-negotiables and what it will take for me to stay in this relationship, and having that dialogue, which is so difficult, but it needs to happen. Then I can make a decision of either staying in that relationship, or if I'm saying, you know what, I don't want to be in this type of relationship. This did cross the line for me and is a non-negotiable. Then what we can do is we still want to have that conversation, but to learn internally, because this is our journey. This is my life. There's so much stuff going on around, but because this is my life, I have to take some responsibility, as difficult as that sounds, and I'm not pointing fingers, but as I take responsibility for my life and my choices, that's how I'm able to grow. And so by finding out, okay, this person has been doing this, and again, I'm not trying to tiptoe around it. I wish the person was here so we could work through, because most time when we make blatant statements like I'm about to, or I just did, it brings up frustration and anger and all sorts of things, and as we process through, then the person's typically able to go, oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way. But without that engagement and dialogue, it's difficult. So I can only speak from my standpoint, and how to get over the lies is if I look at what is my part in it. And again, not accepting their blame or their consequences. Their consequences are theirs, but of going, okay, now have I been open, and have I been what I call external processing? When things come up, do I feel safe enough and secure with who I am to sit down and say, hey, I'm struggling with some of the behaviors that's coming up, and there's some concern, here's some red flags. How are we gonna handle this as a couple? Now for me, I know early on in my life, I was too scared to have those conversations, and it led to a lot of lies, a lot of pain, a lot of being taken advantage of, and it was difficult. And it was so difficult for me to say, I can't control them, but I can learn from this and find out, okay, what is my part, even if it's this small, what is my part in this? What needs am I not getting met, and how do I still meet those needs in a healthy way? And so I'm hoping I'm not going to get too much backlash from the way I'm answering this question. If so, we'll deal with it then. But how do I get over the lies? You first find out, what is my part in this? How can I grow from this? And what can I do to change? And if you are going to stay in that relationship of coming up with the non-negotiables and being very open and transparent and vulnerable, as scary as that sounds, to say, here's why I'm hurt, here's the steps that we're going to need to take together to start building this trust up. And then this is the most important part. Once we've done the work and we've made it through, that becomes, so the lies from the past is no longer a topic used for weapons or to be brought up. So many times when we've worked through something, we bring it up, and it's kind of like this weapon of, well, I can't because you, or you always. Once we have dealt with this wound, the scar is healed, we can't reopen that wound. We want to move that off. Now, if new information comes up, then we're able to say, because we've already done the work, say, hey, based on what we talked about, I see your decision is this, therefore, this is what happens, because I still got to take care of my part. But that's the most difficult part that just keeps popping up to me is what is my part in this? And even if it's tiny, how do I grow? So whether I stay together, I have healthier, clearer boundaries of what I am willing to tolerate or not, and what that looks like, or if I'm not and I'm ending it, so I don't continue this cycle down the road with the similar people I'm attracted to. And so we're able to work through it, whether we stay together or separate. But to get over it, I don't know if you ever get over it, just like a scar, it's always there, but you want to make sure you heal it in a healthy way.